Yeah,
How's
yeah,
everything?
got
Hi, cheers.
How you doing?
Doing wonderful. Welcome aboard the Roosta show. We have
Thank you
Jenny
so much.
Wu, Boy Project, and so awesome to have you aboard. So have nice to you. I mean, your pictures were just so happy with you and your pop and all that, and having
Aw.
on your vacation and all that. Now you're here to spend time with me, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, my greatest pleasure and privilege. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me about you. What got you first into music?
Well, I think like music in general or punk.
Yeah, well, I mean, just like what would you start off with? Yeah, let's start with your early years.
Well,
Let's
I guess like first music I heard was probably like school, like Wheels on the Bus,
yeah,
Baby Beluga, stuff like that when I was a little kid. But I think when you hear music, it's like that feeling that gets inside of you. It's like the vibrations that rock your soul, and it's something that it's like food. You gotta eat it to survive. You know what I mean? Like music is everywhere, and without it, life is kind of meaningless. So,
it's true. So then punk. What got you into loving punk?
oh well, I guess angst, rebellion, feeling like I
Yeah,
didn't fit in. Same old sob story, but like definitely have to say like No Shame. Probably Ruby Soho, Rancid in the 90s, huge gateway for me, got me into
big
like Billy
time.
Bragg, Cox Bar, all that. Cause like I'm not sure like, how what your generation is, but back in that time we didn't have like internet or we didn't have like,
Yeah,
just like CD shops with tons of punk stuff in my hometown. So it was just kind of like you hear it on the radio, then you're gonna go and like back order stuff and hope for the best and kind of just meet people and borrow their CDs.
yeah, yeah. I love your energy. Your music is wonderful. You have great lyrics, great power in it, and passion for your music. So, what gives you that passion? What drives
Well,
that?
I think the real passion for me comes in community. So punk and oi has given me like my life. It's been my friendships, it's been my relationships, it's been my travel, it's been my love. And so being able to express that gratitude and give it back to people who appreciate the music is the fire starter for sure.
Wonderful, wonderful. I actually got a question from a fan, believe it or
Oh, okay.
not. Okay, so I have nothing to do with this except for the fact that he goes, as a performer of Asian descent, do you ever encounter any guff from the bonehead side of boy?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Talking about racism is kind of uncomfortable for a lot of
Yeah,
people, but I think especially coming from the skinhead scene, it is the elephant in the room and we have to address it. And like,
of course.
unfortunately, it becomes like very polarized, like either you're like anti-fascist or you're fascist, but like there are very few people of color performing in the skinhead scene
Yeah,
now and since the beginning of time. And like when you are one of those people, you experience so many things that most people can't understand. Like when COVID came around, I got like so many of those Jenny flu memes or like COVID patient zero, or even like the troll front stuff, like Jenny Wu has Down syndrome because like I'm a mongoloid because I'm Asian. So it all has to do with that. I mean, it's like like all of that is quote unquote like made in fun, but
yeah.
like it comes in like all kinds of sizes, like fetishization of my race, or even like just like assumptions that I wouldn't be as good of a musician because I probably like grew up on classical music or like I don't know, but
Yeah,
the assumptions that people make,
yeah, of
it's
course.
it's unreal. And I think that like if I can just add a little aside, I mean racism is racism. I kind of feel like anti-Asian racism is treated very differently than other brands of racism, and it's all
Yeah,
wrong, right? But
it's
like
all wrong.
anti-racism, like anti-Asian racism kind of tends to be like version light for a
Yeah,
lot of people. Like even on like television shows and sitcoms, it's always funny, right? To
of
do like the
course.
ching chong chow kind of
Of course.
stuff and whatever. But like when you live that, like have a choice to choose your ancestry, you don't have a choice for your skin color. So it's
Yeah,
like you want to be like a full person, not just a diminished version of who you are.
of course. I totally agree. Totally. I think that was well said. What does it mean to you being a skinhead?
I think that being a skinhead is about having pride in who you are because of what you
Yeah,
worked for. And that's like where the working class comes in. It's being about like self-made, like, and I don't mean self-made as in I did it all myself and nobody helped
yeah,
me. It's being self-made in terms of like, hey, I looked at my life and I looked at who I wanted to be. And I wanted to be somebody who was hardworking and dedicated and loyal to my friends and somebody who cared about something bigger than myself. And I worked on myself so that I was able to become that person
yeah,
who's doing all those things and the inner fortitude and strength to be able to contribute and to be able to, you know, see yourself as part of something bigger. I think that for me is what being skinhead is. And like, of course, there's a lot of other things you can say about like
yeah,
fashion, about history, about music,
yeah,
about, but that's all just like layers of hierarchy for me. Like the base
yes,
thing is just like, what do you care about and what are your values?
exactly. Finding your own identity and staying true to it.
Yeah,
So
for me, like, I think that Oi is really like punk, right? And I was
yeah, of
always a punk
course,
rocker, you know
same
what I mean?
family. I mean, just like a different type of brother or sister. You know what I mean? It's the same family.
Exactly. It's in the same tree, but like for me, the moment I stopped being a punk and I started being a skinhead was when I went from like the no future to like better future.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So how would you describe your music? What do you plan to achieve through the Jetty Woo project, the Oi
Okay.
project?
Oh, you coming at me with these big questions. All right. I thought
Yeah,
it was all
yeah.
gonna be like,
I mean,
do you
we're
like
still
gravy?
friends in the long run. Don't worry. Come
All
on.
right, all right. So, as you know, I have a lot of different projects that go on. Like I have my acoustic stuff, I have my full band stuff, I
Yeah.
have like through all of it, like there's a lot of different sound. Some of it sounds more bluesy, some of it even sounds a bit more like bluegrass, some of it even sounds more hardcore. But through all of it, the biggest contribution that I would like to bring to people is to say women are a part of this scene and women have a voice and something to say.
Yeah.
And that if we don't start contributing to the equality of women in our scene, we're going to miss out on so much of what we can do together.
Okay. That was brilliant. Thank you. Thanks for saying that because you actually are my first that is of the scene that is female to be on the
Oh,
show. So yeah, I mean I've had Beat Mistress from My Life with the Throat Cult on here before, but you're actually my first skinhead woman to be on the show. So
woohoo!
oi oi oi.
Yeah, man, call me Neil Armstrong,
Okay,
right?
now this is an actual really deep important question. When you're in the shower, what songs do you sing?
Oh man, well, I have to be like total honesty, okay?
Yeah, mine's
Um,
Tainted Love. That's one of them.
oh, I love The
And
Cure. I really love The Cure.
losing my religion, and just like Devin
REM.
by The Cure. So
Okay.
there
So,
you go.
like this is full like undisclosed honesty because I'm at
Yeah,
the point in my life where there ain't no shame. Um, I have a baby who's like 1 year old, and
yeah,
she's like always listening to this stuff like baby shark do 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 baby shark do 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 do, and there's like literally baby sharks all around the
yeah,
shower.
yeah.
So like that's an honest answer. But the second honest answer is one of the new singles by Coxbar, Hand on My Heart. I
Okay.
think it's just a beautiful song, and it really sums up this chapter of my life and wishing the best for my daughter growing up. So I
Yeah,
would have
I've
to
seen
say
some of
it's
your pictures of your cutie, and
yeah.
at least with that, they had usually something over the face, which is all right, but the
Mhm.
rest of the body is really cute. Very
Yeah.
beautiful baby. Okay, if you would give your fans a message, what would you like to say to your fans? Because your last message was something more towards female of rock. What would you want to say to your fans?
I would say um music and subculture is like fire. It can be used to build something or to destroy something. And that is
Yeah.
especially true of the skinhead scene.
Yeah.
There is so much of a conflictual history in this subculture that you can either use that history and use
Yeah.
that rep to tear everybody around you down, or you can also use the positive and cohesive elements of our scene to
Mhm.
bring your life together, to
Yeah.
find hope, and to create something good for the kids that come after us.
Oh yeah.
So, it's like fire. You want to cook your food and warm your home, or do you want to burn down a village? And I truly believe that if we are going to survive in doing what we love, which is this subculture, which is this music, it must be the latter option. We must
Yeah.
see a way of including people, bridging divides, lowering this idea of gatekeepers,
Yeah.
and loving and truly loving what we do for why we do it,
Yes, of course.
not for
That,
appearances.
that's what we're here about, man. That's what, at least why I'm doing this Rooster show. No, we're trying to keep this going around, man. Keep it alive, keep the underground
Hmm.
world alive. Gothic, punk, industrial. I mean, they all. I mean, I know me growing up. There were parts of my life that each one of them, they all hold dear to me. Going to the clubs, enjoying the industrial, KMFDM. Man, come on now. Those guys are bad. It
Awesome.
just and but but punk, was always a part of it, and then the goth rock scene was a part of it. I just love you guys. I love the underground, and I love it. I want it to survive.
Amen.
I'm sick of people saying, I used to listen to that. I'm like, well, yeah, I listened to it 5 minutes ago. It's like it's
But if there is no underground, there's only surface level. And for
yeah,
a lot of people in this life, that does not resonate and it is not enough.
yeah, definitely. I love the fact about the always scene. There's been great family about it's like if you could feel the love, you could feel the family behind it. Everybody's appreciative of even the little things, every little like little post shared, they're just excited about, excited about the shows that they're everybody that they're meeting in the shows that are great people too, I mean, David Shane, I can't wait to meet him. It
Yeah.
just seems like such a beautiful dude. Rowley, who I'm talking about, Rowley. Yeah.
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 And that's the cool thing about the underground scene, which is that, there are no heroes and everybody's accessible. Like
Yeah.
it's like completely lateral. You know what I mean? We're
Yeah.
all here to help each other and to build it together.
Yep.
And I don't think that there's like any like Taylor Swifts or stadiums being filled with boy.
Yeah.
It's just about the love of music.
Yep, it is. Um, if you didn't have this career though going, what
Yeah.
would you choose?
Oh, if I didn't have a career playing oi music,
Yeah.
well, I would be an esthetician. I have like an extreme fascination for like removing blackheads and treating blemishes. So I feel like I would be really good at that and passionate about
You'd
it
be like
too.
the pimple popper lady,
Oh,
huh?
heck yeah. I'm like gonna be coming up behind Sandra Lee Pimple Popper with my own YouTube channel of my own clients with crazy cysts.
Oh, that
That would be
is
my
so
dream.
awesome. Such a good answer. Oh, I love it. Okay. Tell me about some of the places that you performed, like your very favorite, and tell me about your worst experience.
Okay. So, yeah, like one of the best avenues that music has taken me through is just
Yeah.
traveling. Like I've toured in more than like 65 countries. Like it's
Oh,
been
shit.
really awesome, to find local pockets of
Yeah.
skinhead scenes around the world. And I think one of my favorite gigs was in Myanmar, like also formerly known as Burma. And we got off in Yangon and the the guys who are organizing the gig told me, well, we're going to go to this village, but the problem is that it's not legal to have like concerts there or to make loud noises.
Oh,
Um, just because, well, like there's a lot of issues with like Aung San Suu Kyi and like all of the conflict that's happening there at the time at
yeah.
that particular time. So they're like, we're just gonna do this like in a really clandestine way. So we went into this kind of village north of Yangon and we like went with like probably like 50 of these punk kids, all with like mohawks or like agnostic front t-shirts and flip-flops, and they had these machetes, and they went into the jungle and cut down like a hectare of like bamboos,
Yeah, yeah.
and then they had like a generator hooked up to somebody's like scooter, and then they just put the back line through that, and it became a gig. And like it was just full of these like kids. They were like just coming out through like the bamboo, like in the forest. I had no idea like how did they get the information of the exact location, and like wow, it was like the most insane circle pit I've ever seen. And I really have to say that like for me, for example, I live in Canada, like I have to like really motivate a lot of my friends to go to
Yeah.
gigs. It's like I'm tired, and like, it's far. It's like 20 minutes of driving. It's like, man, there are like kids in Myanmar who are like struggling and like fighting, like walking for hours through a forest to
Yeah.
get to a gig. Like it was a
That's
really wow
amazing.
moment for me. Yeah.
That's awesome. So,
And
yeah, go ahead. So,
the
my bad.
worst gig, like I think it was like so the first tours I did, I was like a solo female artist who was kind of booking her own tours. And
Yeah,
it was before Facebook became a thing. So it was like MySpace.
yeah.
And
I liked MySpace actually.
yeah, it
That
was
was
cool for the
actually
music
pretty
and stuff.
nice. Yeah.
But before like that era of like social media, the skinhead scene was a lot more like diluted. Like you would know all of the skins in your local town and maybe like a few towns over, but it wasn't
Yeah.
like now on the skinternet where everybody knows like, oh, that girl does this and this girl like, and
Hmm.
everybody has like somebody to vouch for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So this guy, I think his name was Thomas. He booked me this gig in like Altenburg, and we were talking on MySpace. He's like, "Yeah, you just show up and it's going to be really cool, and like I'll pay you like $50." And like, this is back in like 2005, so it was like good. I went there on the train, and then he picked me up, and I asked him like, "Where are like the flyers and stuff?" He's like, "Oh, don't worry, I just handled it." We go to his house, and I'm like, "Yeah, like where's the gig?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna like, we're gonna go there like soon." And like time passes, and I'm like, "Well, like honestly, shouldn't we go to the gig?" He's like, "Oh no, the gig is here." And I'm like,
Oh.
"Okay, like when are the people gonna come?" And he's like, "Oh no, it's like a private gig." And like he had like locked the door from the inside.
Oh.
You know what I
Oh.
mean? And like it was you know, those moments like before you had like smartphones, before you had like the whole like, is this guy okay? Or like,
Yeah.
it was
You can
just
kind
so
of
stressful.
double check
Yeah, it
people
was super
today,
scary.
which
And
goes to the other thing. Yeah. How do you think the internet has impacted all this business
oh well,
in
I
a
think it's
positive way, or
you know, um
because that kind of
it's
goes with what you're talking about then?
it's one of those things too. Like it's like any tool. Like you can use it
Yeah.
in a million different directions and it will always have like a positive and a negative usage.
Yeah.
But for me, honestly, I think it's been wonderful. For many different reasons. One, because like before the internet, you had to have a record label release your
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now in a DIY subculture, you have a proliferation of DIY music that's
Hmm.
self-released by bands that would never otherwise be out there. And
Yeah.
that in itself is amazing.
Yeah. It
Second
is.
thing is like you can buy CDs, discs, like listen to the music, stream the music. Like it's all about the music. And so that just makes music so much more accessible. Like
Mhm.
I'm sure you remember back in the day you had like three jewel cases and they're all burned CDs
Oh
and
yeah.
like you didn't even know the names of the
I'm
bands.
still into cassette tapes. I
Yeah.
love cassette tapes.
I got a collection myself, but it makes it so much more accessible and like same thing for finding gigs and like finding festivals and like
Yeah.
as a band, I mean it's so much easier to like organize things with promoters and all that. The negative side, of course, is like you get like a sort of cheapening of the subculture. Like you see a lot of things on the internet that, I think it just reduces the value of the subculture to something that's like TikTok clickbait, which you know what?
I like
No
having
shade.
a live artist do an album cover for you instead of having a digital design for an album cover. Kind of something like
Something,
that.
something like that, but I also feel like it can be like along the lines of just like well, it's my personal taste, okay? But
Yeah,
like, you know, I love bands and I love seeing gigs and I
yeah,
love talking to my friends. But
yeah,
like I don't really need to see like the avocado bowl that you made while you're on tour. You know
yeah.
what I mean? It's just like I like that's okay
You
and
love
like
the
it's not
company, but it's certain things you put a foot down and say, okay, that's enough. You know?
it's almost too much. Like you don't want to see too much behind the scenes. It's like I just want to see the gig. I want to listen to the tunes. I
Yeah.
want to get like some good ideas from you. But it's like, oh my God, like all of the whole like this is how I plan my outfit and all that. It's like it's just not my thing. But
No.
if people find joy in it, who am I to like snuff out their flame? So
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. We can't really say much, can we? So
mm,
if there was anything you could change about the music industry, what would you change or try to change?
I would change honestly, the level of sexism and racism that there is even in the underground music scene. And
Yeah,
a lot of that comes from like gatekeepers, and a lot of people of that comes from people who have a very rigid idea of who belongs on stage and who doesn't.
yeah,
And it's a very unfortunate thing because even though you have a lot of, you know, pro female events or you have like, anti racist action, whoever organizing these events, I truly find that it's the same old boys crew who's doing everything
hmm,
behind the scenes. It's very rare to find like a very democratic and open organization
yeah,
who's willing to give new bands a shot. And
yeah.
I think that it's so
Do you
tragic
think
because
it's
it's just
still pretty uh man dominated?
oh yeah, for sure. I think that it's a very male-dominated industry in the subculture, and I also find that it's an old boys club which keeps the same bands playing every show, every festival, every headliner. Like
Yeah.
we need new blood, and we also need bands that represent their audiences. And like, let's be honest, like the biggest skinhead scenes in the world are like in Latin America and Asia now.
Hmm.
So like, why can't we let some of those bands get on the big stage? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I hear you. Yeah, so that goes to another question about what's a track that you wrote that means the world to you, that you get like so much pride when you sing it live.
Um, Here we stand.
There was that,
And
I was just listening to that. I was just watching the video, man. I was on the
yeah,
YouTube. That's bad.
well,
That was bad. I'm not gonna lie. You had a darn tear in my eye. Okay,
oh,
made me proud. All right.
so
So
first of all, I love the riff in that song, do, and then
yeah,
I love the energy, and I love the lyrics. And I wrote that song exactly about what we've been talking about, like the gatekeepers
yeah,
and the naysayers and all the people who are like, even in the subculture saying you don't deserve this place and we're gonna like just say no
bullshit.
because we have the power to do that. And it's like
Yeah,
the lyrics are like, here we stand, like we're
yeah.
still here, we're still doing it. And whether you're listening or not, you are aware of our presence.
That's right. And so, do you have new tracks on the work? I mean, new album coming out, or
Yeah. So actually
oh,
have this new album here that was released with Randell Records again. It's my
yes,
latest full length record called Boom Dynamite, and the single and video are available on YouTube now. Um, it's uh, it's a fully acoustic album that goes kind of back to basics. I was really inspired by Billy Bregg's Back to Basics,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
wanted to do something pretty similar, just like a stripped down raw album. But I also am in the full midst of recording two other full albums with my other bands. So I have a 77 punk rock band from Paris called The Choices.
okay.
And yeah, we're
Oh,
working full
other
speed ahead
choices.
on like
Okay.
I have to say it's going to be full of bangers and mash. It is like, I mean, like nobody's objective about their work, but like the hooks we've got in that are just, like,
Ah,
they are everything to me. And also working on an album now with my ska orchestra in
uh-huh.
Canada. And like I'm obsessed. I just like I mean, okay, I'm not objective, but legit, like everybody who's been coming to our gigs has been like, okay, can you guys
Yeah.
start a religion? Because like I want to be in your church. Like this is so amazing.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
awesome. That's so wonderful. Anybody you'd like to thank for your success so far?
absolutely. I would first of all really like to thank my partner, Eddie Gazelle, who is like
Okay.
a rockabilly artist. But
Okay.
I think that behind every amazing woman is either another amazing woman or man or non-binary person, an amazing partner, because like you would never be able to achieve anything, especially with a child, if you didn't have a partner
Yeah.
behind you
I
saying
got a
like,
kick-ass wife of 25 years.
"Amen." You know what I'm talking about. So
I
it's
do.
like
She's bad. She's a badass woman.
it's like that feeling of home and a foundation. And especially, being a woman, a lot of men think that your job is to like be at home and to take care of that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
I feel very fortunate that I have somebody who's like, you were born to rock, do that, and we'll be in the sidelines.
Yeah.
Um, and I'd also like to thank Deanna Schuler, who is the manager of our record label. She picked me up like almost 15 years ago when I just had like a demo out on MySpace, and she
Yeah.
also has a amazing, amazing catalog of bands like Coxbar, Cockney Rejects, and Hepcat, and all that. And I just feel it's a true honor and a privilege to work with her.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw you with the evil conduct too, watching that video. That was
Oh
awesome.
yeah, working on a new collaboration with Han as well, so that'll be out this
Yeah.
summer.
That's amazing. So, could we expect you doing any touring coming up?
Yeah, so I do have quite a few dates coming up in and across Canada.
Yeah.
And I have like another full tour coming up this summer in Europe, including like Rebellion Festival and all
Yeah.
that in the UK. And I'm doing like a few more gigs in Canada and the US coming up, coast to
Yeah.
coast. But yeah, if anybody is interested in booking, like please feel free to DM me. I am pretty DIY and I do all my own stuff, and like I love to get out there and meet people, so I'm always available.
So, tell us about like some sacrifices that you've made by choosing this lifestyle.
Well, um, I guess my true answer to that question would be like when you love it so much, it's worth every cost. So we
Yeah.
don't really see it as a sacrifice. You just see it as like paying taxes.
It's a way
But
of life, right?
it's way of life. But
That was
you
almost a
know,
trick question. It's a way of life.
honestly, like if I were to say one thing, it's just choices that you make, right? So like I don't think that oi music pays for itself, and like everybody else pretty much like I have a full-time day job.
Oh yeah.
And so when you're doing music, it's like you spend every holiday, every day off touring. You
Hmm.
spend like, your all of your evenings at rehearsals, and you spend a lot of your own personal money and time like investing in like, organizing shows, and like sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're also like uh in a situation where you meet like a lot of trolls online, or you meet a lot of people at gigs who maybe can be like disrespectful or kind of boneheads, as you would say, and you're
Hmm.
just like, oh my God, like I would have rather spent this evening with my baby
Yeah.
than
No
dealing with
doubt.
you people. But like that's just part of the
Luckily I didn't grow up with any boneheads around me or really any kids in general. I mean, I just kind of I always just grew up loving the punk and loving the style, loving that energy, and loving just loving the people that are about it.
well, you
But
got good vibes,
really
so you attract the
haven't
good
seen
people.
around me that much, and but when I found the oi scene, it just I really felt connection to that,
Mm.
and much love to that scene, and so I just thank you. I just appreciate your time with me, man. And this has been really great. So let's end with this. What's one of the funniest times you had on stage?
Oh, the funniest times
The
I ever
funniest.
had.
Just
Okay,
go for it.
like lols, lols, lols. I was playing a show in England in September 2022, and I
Okay.
was like pretty pregnant at the time, but I had not told anybody that I was pregnant because, you're always like, I want to tell my parents first, and I don't want to tell them like, on text or whatever.
Yeah.
So we're playing this gig, and I just couldn't stop puking on stage. You know what I mean?
Oh
It was
my
just
lord.
like puking all over myself, my guitar, the audience, and everything. And everyone's like, "Oh my God, you're such a freaking rocker, dude! Like, you just can't stop."
Gigi Allen, man.
Exactly. You can't stop drinking. You must be totally wasted. And
Oh my lord.
I was just like, yeah, for sure. That's me. What can I say? It ain't an oi gig with Jenny Wu unless you get a little bit of spinach and egg on you.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. I don't know if you have more to say, but you can if you want. But I do
Last
thank you for
thing
your time. It's been a blessing.
I
Anything
want to
you'd
say
like to
is
throw in?
thank you so much to you. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your life and throwing your passion out there. Like I
An
think
honor.
that these shows and also catalysts like you are such a huge contribution to the scene and to artists such as myself. I really appreciate having this venue to share my message, and I wish you nothing but the best. I'm a fan and a follower.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And I am as well. Much love to you and your family. Much love to your bands. And always have your support here on the Rooster Show. Jenny Woo, my friends. And peace. Stay true. Have a good
You
one.
too.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Cause now I'm